So, welcome to Mr. Wizard's Workshop, episode 48. This week's topic: quit social media, statement or question mark. So, that sounds contradictory since this workshop is brought to you via social media. Cal Newport did a TEDx talk in 2016, and that was the title, Quit Social Media, where he pretty much just made the case he never had a Facebook account and was almost making a blanket recommendation as far as why most people would be better served if they just completely bailed on social media. In his book, Deep Work, he had a section, one of his rules, rule number 3, which also said quit social media. But in the book, it was a little bit more nuanced, which we'll get to. Cal starts that chapter in his book by describing some people who famously did just that as an experiment for a period of time. You know, they went cold turkey for a week, a few weeks, or even a month. Several of them were journalists, and there were a couple of big name authors, some other people. And then they wrote about the experience. And kind of the general message was, okay, life was better, blah, blah, blah. But then after that, they went right back to their erratic use of social media. In previous sections of the Deep Work book, Cal made the point that network tools can very easily fragment our time and reduce our ability to concentrate. It's very hard to sharpen your focus and really hone your deep work skills if your life outside your concentration training is a distracted blur of apps and browser tabs. And this is where his response is more nuanced in the book than it was in a TEDx talk. Quit social media is a binary response that actually won't work for most people. So his recommendation is accept that these network tools are not inherently evil, and some of them might potentially be vital for your success. But, and this is, I think, the really key thing, at the same time, understand that the threshold for selecting and using a tool should be stringent. For most people, the default decision is you're justified in using a network tool if you can identify any possible benefit to its use or anything you might miss out on if you don't. The problem with this approach is it ignores all the negatives that come along with the tool. So as a reminder, these services are designed to be addictive. There is going to be a cost, sometimes more than one type of cost, in adding any new tool to your tool chest. So the idea that identifying some benefit is sufficient to invest time, energy, and money in a tool and make, for example, a farmer laugh out loud. Oh, hay baler. Yeah, there could be some benefit, but it's a shit pot full of money. A lot of, there's some very subtle thinking that goes into the assessment for whether or not, for a craftsman, whether or not a particular tool is appropriate. Going back to the farm example, the farm implement store is full of tools that would bring some benefit. So a much better approach is what Cal calls the craftsman approach to tool selection. So the first step in that approach is identify the core factors that determine success and happiness in your profession and your personal life. And he gives some specific examples. So for professional life, be an effective teacher in the classroom, be an effective mentor to a student, be an effective researcher, and for personal life, conduct parenting well and run an organized household. And he makes the point that the goals shouldn't be too specific, but they should be specific enough that you can, from the goals, you can drop down to particular things that you want to achieve via using networking tools. And the second step of the craftsman approach is adopt a network tool only if its positive impact on the goals you've selected substantially outweigh its negative impact. And obviously that the thought has to go in that. It's a subtle analysis, and you have to think about what it is you're really wanting to accomplish. For example, back when I made the decision to add a YouTube channel to my tool chest, I put a fair amount of thought and analysis into it. I even did a little video on why I picked YouTube as my primary vehicle for content marketing. One of the key points, or the high-level points from the book, is there is no platform that everyone should be using. To prepare for this session, I watched a more recent, actually a YouTube video from Cal Newport. He does podcasts and he puts them out on his YouTube channel. So he's engaged with networking tools. He still doesn't have a Facebook account. There is no platform that everyone should be using. And I watched, I think, a video he did for last year where he makes the point that things have evolved a lot, or the culture's evolved significantly since his 2016 TEDx talk, where it's now more widely accepted that, for example, if you don't use Facebook, you're no longer considered weird. It's kind of a choice. Some people use Facebook, some people don't. If you're not on TikTok, no weird thing. And he thinks that's a good thing. And I agree, where people are now moving to the point where they're more intentional about selecting which of these social media platforms and networking tools they choose to use. So the action item for this week, think about maybe possibly eliminate, or at least consider the possibility of eliminating one network tool, which you can start by saying nothing to do with your business goals and whose sole personal benefit is distraction and shallow entertainment. And I think a lot of people sneak in network tools, social media platforms on the personal side where they say, well, yeah, there's really not much downside and, I enjoy it and it's entertainment. So for me particularly, I went through and I removed, actually had 3 casino games on my Kindle that I periodically jump in and play because dopamine hit. And I had one on my cell phone, although I hadn't used that in a long time. But to do the exercise, I thought about it, said, actually, it's a pretty good metaphor, the casino games, because the addictive qualities of most of the social media platforms are based on attention engineering principles that they actually got from the casino. People going for that dopamine hit.
Hey, Steven, you hear me? Great topic.
Is there anything that you can think of that might potentially be worth eliminating from your tool chest of social network or social media tools?
For me personally, I'm in a kind of opposite situation where I need to get back on social media. Right. Like, because I try to, I remove social media as much as I can because it helps me concentrate. I used to be like really strong on Twitter, and I don't know, it was just mentally very stressful when you get hundreds of notifications every day. And it's like you really become addicted to it because it's like, oh, there's 10 new followers and there's new likes and there's a DM and, there is a potential customer and how many people clicked the affiliate link. And it was really taxing. So that's why I'm kind of on a social media break, not on a social media break, but that's why I wanted really space to breathe. But the truth is that if you want to sell something online, then at the very least, you need to have a social media profile. Because people start Googling you. And if you don't have any, like if you just have a website and there's like no videos, no photos, you're not on social media, people are very skeptical.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that's why in the book itself, he was saying, it could be critical for your professional success, but you need to be very focused and intentional and pick the tools that best support your goals. For example, Twitter. So I guess it could be effective. For me personally, I mean, you couldn't pay me enough money to get on Twitter because of the whole negative vibe and that anyway, for whatever reason, Twitter doesn't resonate for me at all. I'm happy with YouTube, and I do have a Facebook account, and part of that's because I can push out my videos from YouTube or promote them in Facebook. But I have a limited number, and I have a LinkedIn account where I do a little DMing. I could probably leverage LinkedIn a lot more than I do. So I think really the principle, especially for someone like me or you, would be focus in just on the tools that you really need and let go. Don't try to cover everything.
Yeah, I mean, specifically for social media, if you don't have a social media account that's already making you money, then adding a second social media account is not the solution.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Like whichever platform you pick one platform.
Right.
And turn that into a lead generator, into a reliable traffic source. And because the trap that most people fall into is like, I have a Twitter account, now I have an Instagram, now I have a TikTok, now I have a YouTube, now I have a Facebook. If your first platform isn't generating leads, income, clients, sales, whatever, like I said, adding another account isn't going to do you any favors. So just pick one that you like, make that one work, and add another one and another one as you grow and you have more. It gets easier then, much easier, because you can repurpose your content and you can hire a social media manager, help, all that stuff.
So which platform do you think is your numero uno?
For me, well, it used to be Twitter, like I said. Because the thing about Twitter is that most people don't really understand how Twitter works, and this is why it's such a great opportunity. I think just in terms of, if it was just the social media platform, I would go to Twitter again just because of how effective it is. But considering paid ads, right? Like if you have a Facebook group or a Facebook page, and then you want to run PPC ads and use the Facebook algorithm, it's really worth building up a social media community on Facebook. For me, number one is videos, right, which is YouTube, but I don't really count YouTube as a social media platform. They're trying with the community tab and so on. If you view YouTube as a social media platform, that would be my number one. Otherwise, I would say Facebook.
Yep. I guess maybe I wasn't being crisp because I was kind of putting just YouTube in the social media platform. I mean, definitely it's a networking tool. So, and for me, it is number one, and I'd say Facebook's number two. The other thing that I do as are part of the rules of engagement is always keep in mind that I'm a content developer, not a content consumer. I don't use network tools and social media for entertainment.
But YouTube, I mean, I use YouTube for entertainment. I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a discipline that I apply because, like anybody else, I like the dopamine hit, and I get a charge out of kitty videos and funny stuff. But when I go out and do research, I'm doing focus research for like my next YouTube video. I make sure that I don't let YouTube lead me astray and pop up something. Oh, here's something you might really want to watch. Even though it would be fun because I've had the experience in the past of looking up and an hour and a half has gone by and I'm going, well, what the hell did I just do?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, like if you have, I mean, that's why time blocking helps so much, right?
Absolutely.
If you tell yourself, I'm going to do, I'm going to do research for, I don't know, if you say, I don't know what my next YouTube video is going to be about. It's like, I give myself 30 minutes to come up with the next title for the video. And I'm going to give myself 1 hour to research and write the bullet points for the next script, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then, well, if in that time you end up watching, I don't know, like late night comedy shows, on YouTube and Instagram and whatnot, well, it can happen with anything, right? Like it could even be, if you go to the library to do research and you end up reading the magazines under the pretense of I'm doing research, it can happen anywhere. From my experience, like working with tons of people in the social media space now, it's like when you become a content creator for a platform, it becomes kind of difficult to be a consumer. You kind of ruin the experience for yourself in a way because you start seeing all the algorithm optimizations everywhere, right? Like I could never browse Twitter information because I just see all the tweets. I know why a tweet is being shown by the algorithm, all these things, and you can't really enjoy it. So if you're struggling with a specific platform, set yourself the goal to grow an account and kind of ruin the fun for you. I think that's what happens to many people.
All right. Well, thanks for joining, and you have a great rest of your weekend, what's left of it. I'll see you next week.
Yeah. See you next week, Stephen.
Thanks for watching this video recording from my live weekly workshop. Every Sunday, I feature instantly actionable steps you can take to overcome procrastination, increase your productivity, and get your shit done. Followed up by Q&A and discussion with the live participants. I really hope you found this video useful and you feel like watching it was time well spent. Please post any questions or comments you have. I always answer post. I'd appreciate it very much if you would like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you know anyone that would enjoy and benefit from this particular episode, please send them the link. Stay productive, my friends.